walking into the city in the late afternoon. The sun has begun its long, unhurried descent toward the hills in the west. The light at this hour is the color of warm honey, amber and thick, pooling in the corners of great stone archways, gilding the edges of columns that rise so tall they seem to lean gently into the sky. The air carries dry dust and something older, something mineral and cool, like a cave that has not been entered in a very long time. There is the faint ghost of olive oil, of bread baked somewhere nearby many hours ago, of rosemary and thyme growing wild between the paving stones. The streets are wide and quiet. The stones beneath your feet are smooth, worn soft by centuries of passing. They are warm where the sun has rested on them all day. Thin blades of grass push up between their edges, gently, seeking the light. A pigeon lands on the lip of a stone fountain. It considers the still water, then lifts away without a sound. The buildings around you are enormous and unhurried, their walls the color of sand and cream. Some windows open to the evening air, dark and quiet, like the eyes of someone sleeping deeply. The whole city breathes slowly. It is the breathing of something very old and very much at peace. At the heart of the city lies the Forum, what was once the great open square of an empire. Now it is something softer, something quieter. The stone platforms still stand, their carved lettering worn by wind and rain into shapes almost like music. Grooves rounded smooth, all sharp edges gentled away by time. You could run your hand along them and feel only softness, only patience. The paving stones are interrupted now by islands of grass and small wildflowers. Yellow petals trembling near the base of a great column, pale purple blooms swaying on long stems in the last of the afternoon breeze. A fig tree has taken root between two ancient stones, growing slowly over many seasons, its broad leaves dark and dusty, its roots pressing with enormous patience into the earth. Swallows cut arcs through the open air above. A pair of doves rests on a broken column, pressed close together, feathers ruffling softly. The sound here is wind moving through stone, grass whispering against itself, and somewhere nearby, the faint melodic trickle of a small fountain, still running, fed by a channel so old it has become part of the ground itself. The light falls in long, warm columns between the pillars, illuminating dust motes that drift and turn, as slowly as thoughts before sleep. Everything is still, everything is at rest. Down the wide avenue, past young trees with pale bark and trembling leaves, there is a great building. Its doors stand open to the evening. You step inside. The light here is different, cooler, bluer. It falls from high windows, open now to sky, and rests upon floors of pale marble. White stone, veined with gray, touched with the faintest blush of rose, like the inside of a shell. There are no footsteps, only silence. And in a space this vast, silence has its own presence, a fullness, a gentle weight, as though the air itself is resting. Along the upper walls, carved figures move in slow procession, robes flowing, faces serene. They have been still for so long that stillness has become their peace. Patches of old paint remain in sheltered corners. Ochre, terracotta, a blue that was once a summer sky, now soft as a winter dawn. In one crack, where wall meets floor, a small green plant grows quietly. High above, a spider's web holds the last of the light, a trembling net of silver, barely there. The air is cool and still. It smells of old stone, of dust, and something faintly sweet. The ghost of incense, perhaps, folded into the walls long ago, patient, undisturbed. You breathe it in and settle. Follow the sound of water, and it leads you out of the city into open countryside where the great aqueduct strides across the land on its long stone legs. The arches are enormous, each one a perfect curve, repeated again and again into the distance, growing smaller, growing quieter, until they dissolve into something almost dreamlike at the horizon where the gray-blue hills begin. The stone is old, very old. It carries the colors of time, streaks of amber, patches of pale lichen, soft, dark moss in the coolest, dampest places. The water still runs, not with force, but with patience. A quiet, contemplative trickle along the stone channel above, catching the last of the fading light in small, gentle ripples. It speaks without urgency. It simply continues. Around the base of the arches, the grass is long and soft, bending in the evening breeze. Wildflowers deepen in the gathering dusk. Crickets have begun their slow, rhythmic song. A heron stands motionless in the shadow of one great arch, still as stone, watching the water, waiting for nothing. The sky above is soft and layered, pale gold in the west, rose, violet, and overhead a tender blue-gray where the first stars are just beginning to consider appearing. You are still. The water continues. The crickets sing on. Beyond the stones, there were gardens here once. Formal gardens, carefully planned, with clipped hedges and geometric paths. You can still see the bones of that design beneath the softness that has grown over it. Low stone borders, their edges now rounded, now sunken, trailing small creeping plants with tiny white flowers. The paths between them are still faintly there, slightly lower, slightly more compacted, but grass has covered them entirely. And the grass here is the softest, finest grass imaginable, the kind that invites you to lie down, to press your cheek against it and feel its cool, faint dampness. At the center, the fountain still stands, a wide, shallow basin of white marble, softened now to the color of old jade. A thin trickle of water enters, and the basin holds the sky perfectly in its stillness. Peach and lavender, the silhouette of a single cypress at the garden's edge, like a dark, calm flame. The old hedges have grown enormous and shapeless, alive with small birds settling in for the night. Soft rustlings, quiet calls. Roses have spread across the old stone walls, their pale blooms hanging in the evening air, rich and soft and slightly melancholy. The whole garden smells of grass and water and roses, and the cool mineral breath of old stone. It is entirely, profoundly at peace. The last light leaves the sky, not suddenly but slowly, the way a lamp dims in a room where you are already growing drowsy. The warm golds soften into cool blues and grays, and then into the deep, soft purple of early night. The stars emerge one by one, unhurried. They are in no particular rush. The marble of the great buildings holds the day within it, releasing its warmth slowly into the dark. The stone columns